Link is
Hi everyone, welcome to our another episode of What's the Win Dynatrace Observability Clinic series. Today we are going to talk about the new platform features of version 282. Miloš will be leading this session for today. Hi Miloš, thank you very much for your time in advance. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Hello, Berkan. I'm doing fine. Thank you very much.
All good. So let's see what we have got today on the agenda. Can you please move on the next slide?
Of course.
All right. In the first part, we have got our playground tenants, which any Dynatrace user can check out and use as a demo environment. You can easily explore our platform and see how we integrate with various technologies. Next, and the main focus of the session, product updates. Miloš is here to help us to cover the platform features released in the version 282. And lastly, we will talk about our feedback channels and resources. Next slide, please. So if you are new to Dynatrace and would like to use the playground tenants, you just need to sign up for a trial. If you already have an account, you are feel free to explore our environment, our playground environment. Also, you can take a look at our GitHub page for lots of tutorials and hands-on training materials to help you get familiar with our platform. Next slide, please. All right. Now I think it's back to you, Miloš. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let us start. Yeah, as Berkan mentioned, we cover today the release notes version 282. In general, they are released every 2 weeks. So yeah, if you visit this link here, you will be greeted by a view similar to this one here. And let us dive into the new features of today's release. So the first one is actually not really a new release. It is more of a reminder to please finish the new SAML certification migration. Yeah, the old SAML certificate is expiring on February 28th this year. So yeah, please, we recommend updating this before this due date. And in case this is still not finished by your organization, you can find instructions here. And please do not forget to also tick the checkbox in Dynatrace. I think it is here one of the last steps in the instruction. Otherwise, if you do it only in the identity provider in the IDP, then you still might see this small pop-up. Hey, please update the certificate. So yeah, don't forget to check it in Dynatrace as well. Up. And with that said, let us jump into the release notes. First of all, and most importantly, in my opinion, we have a couple of new DQL functions. Pretty much every release coming out now is populated with new DQL functions, and so is this one here. The first here, couple ones are pretty similar, working with arrays, creating from an input array another array. Here we can calculate the deltas. We can work with moving average of the elements in an array, and similar to this one here, max, min, sum. We will show one in the hands-on part. I think this is then very clear. All of them pretty much follow the same syntax.
Also for each slide, I think we put the notebooks URL or the environment URL at the bottom of these slides. In this slide, is it documentation or the environment itself, Miloš?
Yeah, thank you, Berkan. If you click here, then you will be linked to the playground environment where you can open a notebooks and you can explore these and any other DQL commands. So this is the very playground environment which you mentioned 2 slides ago.
And also you can find this notebook URL under the video description. I think in YouTube, also same for university, same for the presentation. So it's all reachable, I believe, from many places. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds great.
Similar to this, a couple of other new DQL commands. Yeah, we will show one of these as well today in the hands-on part. And now the focus here is on parse commands, especially here, split by a pattern, replace a pattern, or match a pattern. Yeah, pretty interesting new features introduced to DQL. And array median existed already, but in case you open the docs now, a new description was added for it. So not a new DQL function, but a new DQL description here. Okay. With that said, let us have one more information, then we can jump into the hands-on part. This one is pretty neat in case you are a Credential Vault user. Now the new feature is that finally we can make a list of users who are visible to access Credential Vault. Uh, Up until now, it was only possible to either to have a black or white solution. Either only the user can view, only the owner can view the Credential Vault, or everyone can view it or access it. But now you can make a list of one or multiple specific users. And another feature that was introduced with that release here is that we have the introduction of our checkbox here to also use a Credential Vault for the new Dynatrace apps, the app engine. So far, only synthetics and extensions were possible. Now, of course, also the Dynatrace apps. And
I
with that,
think this one also mentioned in the previous version, in previous release. I remember that. So there are sometimes that we change the release, the features based on the release itself. It's because it's more fit, for example, this version. And or sometimes if it is important, we mentioned this a couple of times, but it's one of the examples that if you see it here, and if you're seeing the previous version, that's basically that there are some features that will be that's presented in the both releases. So it's a good example to mention, I think, here. Additionally, there's a section in our documentation that covers best practices for Credentials Vault. You can also look at it for more information if you want. And there are several conditions that were user and application permissions. It's also that that will be useful for you to use Credentials Vault in App Engine specifically.
mhm,
Okay,
okay,
I think all good.
let us end this section with the first hands-on part of today. Let me open the Notebooks app first here for the DQL commands. Yeah, I thought about presenting here the moving array command. So as mentioned, it requires an input array. In this case, three simple inputs to showcase here the function of the new DQL command. And in the line number 4, we are then actually executing the new command. And the syntax in order to do it looks as follows. Let us explain this. So first one, A, of course, here the input array, and the window indicates how many elements of the input array we want to use for the average calculation. So very quick and easy example. We start here at the first element, or let's actually move to the result already because this was already executed. So if the first element shows a 2, and before the 2 there was no element, since this is element number 0 or the first element, average is also 2. Average of 3 and the one before 2, 3 plus 2 is 5, divided by 2 is 2.5. So the average is 2.5. 7 and 3, 10, average is 5, and so on. I think it is easy. And then the last element would be 1 and 7, average is 4. But this is the case for window of 2. Window of 6, for example, would then look as follows. Of course, the average of the first element doesn't change because there was nothing before the 2. 3 and 2 stays the same. Still, there is nothing before. But here already with the first 7, the first element that has a 7, we can see the difference. Now we do not stop with 7 plus 3, but since we have room of 6 elements to take into our calculation, we also take into the 2 into account. So we do now 7 plus 3 plus 2, which should be 12, and 12 divided by 3 should be 4. And of course, now then the second 7, we have 7 plus 7 plus 3 plus 2 divided by 4, 4.75. And the last one, again, the same thing. So this is how the window works. And the other inputs, I think, at that point are self-explanatory. If you have a null indicating there is no numeric value, then the null is ignored. It's not a numeric value, and the result still works. Null is ignored. But if the element is not numeric at all, since or as is shown here with this string, then the whole result will break. It's not accepted as an argument. Second
Okay.
example that, sorry, Berke?
No, it's okay. I just said okay. That
Mhm.
looks clear to me. Then.
I think yeah. And if one of the commands is understood, then pretty much the first slide we presented, it works every time the same. Input array is required, and then the window size is defined. Min, max, sum, or average, always the same game here. The second command which I thought about is interesting is the split by pattern. Again, it requires an input. In this case, it's a string input. Yeah, one and then $1, $2, $4, 3. Here is string. And how it works, again, here in line 5. So the other ones are still the inputs, different inputs. And line 5, we define the new command. How does it work? First, we define which field we want to target. And when I mark it, you already see it highlighted. So we are targeting here the content. And we define, yeah, basically looking here for the first. So what we are doing here, we're finding out what should be used as a delimiter in this split by. And here the delimiter should be the long part, which is in between dollar and space. So this is one, or in this case four, because after the long is always a space, and before the long there is a dollar sign. And the end result is then put together in an array, and here 1, 2, 3. And similarly, the other input here as well. So foo bar will result in foo and the bar. And yeah, if there is nothing matching our conditions here, then of course no separator will be shown, no result here, nothing is separated. And yeah, if it's empty, then well, it's empty. So nothing is split here.
Mhm.
So far, so good. Let me jump now to the credential vault. I think this one is pretty clear. If you view your credential vaults in the, you open the credential vault app, and when you create a new one, yeah, basically you see already here at the very beginning the app engine toggle, if you want to use it for the app engines or not, for the Dynatrace apps in the app engine or not. And yeah, this one here I think is as well pretty clear. If enabled, then only me in this case, the owner. If not enabled, everyone can access it. And if I define here user@user.com, so the email of this example user, and we can then create a list of other users who can also access this credential vault.
But it's also it's mentioned, I guess, that on the slides that if a credential vault is used in a specific application, that user also needs to have permission for the application.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly from documentation. So there are a couple of things that might need to consider when you give access to that user. Just think about to give permission to that application too.
Yeah, thank you, Berkan. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's jump back. Mhm. Back to the slides. What else do we have? The next feature is in the sector of application vulnerability. The actual new part is this marked section here in the red box. When you open your vulnerability, you can see which processes are affected. And if you open one of these processes, you will see a box like this indicating that this process can be restarted in order to update the vulnerable data in this process. So in the UI, this is what this looks like. Um, Here I have an example vulnerability. Let's not waste too much time here. Let us focus here on the new release, which is in this part here. When you have the process group overview, you will find always what process is affected by it. And if you view those process groups, we can open here the drop down, and then this is here under risk assessment. In this section, you will see the the indication that you can restart this process. In this case, this process is not required to be restarted. Maybe it was already restarted, but in any case, this is where you can expect a new feature to be shown.
Also, just to mention shortly, this functionality is available, I think, for one agent version, minimum 279. So that might be another reason that you don't see it, but I don't think so. It should be updated at the latest agent version on this tenant. It means that there are no new information on this agent. That's why you don't see the restart notification here.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, let us go back again to the slides. What else do we have? One more neat feature. Um, Now it is possible to create automatic or out-of-the-box alerts for high garbage collection activity. It is now evaluated on the cluster itself, so it is supporting cloud native full stack and application only scenarios. So this is added here in the global settings for anomaly detection in the host view. We will see this in a moment in the hands-on part where this was added. Of course, as well, since this is out-of-the-box alerting in the settings, of course, there is a metric for this as well. So anytime metric events can also be used. Yeah, just here as a side note.
You can also create, I think, metric events for specific metrics like high GC suspension time or the total collection time. It's also available in documentation, and you can find the relevant steps directly from there. Of course, you can also correlate those metric events with Davis by selecting the specific event types within the metric event configuration. I think they should be also available in metric event configuration in documentation there. So there's no, it's not mentioned in the slide, but just from top of my mind, it can be useful for you to correlate with other events if the automatic detection doesn't work for your requirements.
Yes, as long as a metric exists, metric events are always an
Definitely.
option, available as an option.
No metric left, I want.
Okay. Another feature, another new release or another new feature would be that request attributes allow now to define the request attribute source um, based on fixed user IDs and IMS user IDs and fixed units of work IDs and IMS unit of work IDs. So especially of interest for customers that are working with mainframes, IBM mainframes, for example. Yeah,
Okay.
request attributes based on these sources are now available.
Mainframe part is a little bit black box to me, but you can, in general, you can use request attributes to filter your monitoring data more effectively, or you can enhance your distributed traces analysis by adding extra metadata to your traces, or you can even connect your backend data with your digital experience data by setting user session properties to have a better end-to-end visibility. So there are lots of cool benefits of using request attributes in general, and it's also, I think that will be useful for the, especially for the companies that will use mainframe and highly, and it will have additional enriched capabilities, let's say. So these are all available in documentation. And if you need still more information, you can of course always reach out to your account teams or chat our team that via chats directly. I think it's also nice to see that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let us see what we have in the hands-on part based on this material. This part of the application observability. Yeah, the mentioned garbage collection settings can be found um, under settings, anomaly detection, post anomaly detection, and we can find it here, detect high garbage collection. And of course,
It's also available for host level, right? Not only global.
this is global settings for the host anomaly detection.
Oh,
And if
it's for
you mean
specific host. Is it also available for the hosts?
this is an excellent question. Let us actually check it together. This would be really quick. I think so, yes. Let us check together. I'm opening here
I think so
the
too,
first
but
host.
still just want to be sure. I don't know.
And to move or
If
take
you
it
don't
over.
find it, we can cut it out this part. That's perfectly fine.
No worries, no worries. Let us
No,
check
just kidding.
here. So
Okay.
I'm opening
Oh,
here
no, we can leave it like this.
the host settings.
And you said for cloud native and app only deployment types, if I understand correct, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Not for classic full stack in that case.
For cloud native full stack, so the new release is supporting cloud native and app only.
Cloud native and app only, not
Yes.
classic full stack. Okay.
And here it is.
Okay, I see it then.
So host settings as well.
But of course, it's a general host view that the latest that's implemented, as Milos mentioned, it's for cloud native and app only deployment types, but it's also good to see that it's available at entity level. That's for curiosity. Okay, thanks, Milos.
Sure thing. Actually, I think yeah, here just to show real quick. Yeah, for the mainframe related request attribute sources, I think how request attributes are created can easily be checked in documentation or can also every time be asked via chat. But the essential what the release note here is targeting at is you can have here a wide selection of available request attribute sources, which can be used to create the attribute from. And here now the mentioned IMS IDs or the kicks IDs can be used as available sources for the
User
release
ID and the
identity.
work ID, I guess. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, user ID and the work ID are these two are part of the new release 2H2.
All right.
Yes, that's so much about that. Let us go back again. I think we have a couple of slides left with new release points. This one is pretty neat for problem integration. So there is a new schema ID available, right, which is built-in mobile notifications, allowing SaaS and managed users to enable and disable via API now the Dynatrace mobile app. So Dynatrace mobile app is used to export problems from Dynatrace to your mobile device, to your phone. This is a neat new feature that we have. What else? Finally, for another integration-based release, we can obfuscate webhook URLs for custom integration. So with this toggle here, you can keep them secret, which then there will be masked with little asterisks. Or you can, if you disable the toggle, then they will be shown as it did up until now. The whole URL will be visible. So this is a very interesting for users that have private data within their URL. Can finally be
Definitely.
masked. A
So I
nice
believe
feature.
it will be all masked in third-party notifications, like for example in Slack or I don't know that email and so on. So it will not be easily accessible by insecure resources, let's say, or the different type of users who don't have permissions for this URL. So I think it will be useful for several reasons.
Mm-hmm. And what else do we have here? Davis events that are posted via API, custom info, for example. They can be posted or ingested into Dynatrace in the future. And now it is finally possible to also query them from the future. So we will showcase this in the hands-on part. So essentially, if we ingest now a custom event 5 days from now or 2 days from now, then of course you will not see this custom event on your host, on your process, because with the time frame selector in the UI, you cannot go into the future. Um, but you can query it via the get API. Let's showcase this then in the hands-on part. So this is new as well. And what else do we have? We can bulk select problems now in the problems view, similar to what was publicly announced a couple of weeks ago with the bulk selection of the ActiveGate and one agents. Now this can be done with problems as well. Yeah, once you bulk select problems, you can close all of them. You don't have to close them each and one manually.
I always have a feeling that we introduced this bulk actions or a couple of times for the problems. I think it's for security problems. We did it several times before, as we also have some options to change the problem state and so on. So it's good to see that available in general for problem analysis.
Definitely, definitely. I think this is a nice handy feature. Um, okay, and I think the last, no, there are a couple more. Okay, this is more of an internal note. What was done here, the event reporting limit was increased for cluster servers, and cluster servers in this case here indicate um, our internal Dynatrace cluster servers, which make the SaaS solution work. Yes, here the event reporting limit was increased.
I,
Um,
I think it's more like an update for the users who had similar cases before, and maybe they received some feedbacks from our development team, from our support team, or I don't know, from their account team. But in general, this is just a update to notify them, and now that's why also we want to put this on this presentation. But
mhm,
as Milo shared, it's just for internal change, you can say.
yes, users who were affected by this event reporting limits now can rest assured that this has increased, but
We
I
can
guess
sleep
many,
now.
many users didn't even know that this limit existed in the first place. So Let's leave it at this.
Yeah.
All right. And I think this is now the last new release that we will cover in this today's call 28 for the 282 release. What is available now? We are talking here about Kubernetes. What is available from the ActiveGate, so ActiveGate Kubernetes data, and we can now see the container entities in within the new Kubernetes app in Dynatrace. So this is really nice. I can show this in the hands-on part as well. And with that
Which
said,
is
let us.
business, by the way. I mean, we will see that more and more resources about this new Kubernetes experience in general. It's basically a brand new application for Kubernetes and has been created to help platform engineers and SREs for better understanding and improving the health of and cluster performance. And the new user interface is showing all the important health signals at a glance. So once you start to use it, I think you will see the difference with the new application. I believe it has deployed recently, like since 2nd of February, for the platforms who had the requirements, completed already requirements. So I think we will see more and more about this new application, and it's also nice to see the containers are available with the new version. And also I think we'll show a few minutes hands-on
Mhm.
explanation on the application. So that's really nice to
Yeah,
see it.
Kubernetes is definitely the future. Um, More and more release notes will be focused on that with more possibilities and so on. However, today, let us first jump into the mentioned obfuscation possibility for the custom integration. So if we insert our example endpoint just like that, then of course it will be visible. And if we mark it as secret, then it is masked and will not be visible anymore, as Berkan mentioned. So yeah, this is nice.
Okay, also for the users who don't see these features in settings application in general, for other configuration items too. So it means that I think you don't have permission to see those items. So that's why you don't have the visibility of this configuration specifically. You might need to reach out to your admins to get those permissions so that you can change these items directly. So just a small point for the users who new to Dynatrace and just want to mention quickly.
Yes, thank you for pointing this out. The administrator of your Dynatrace environment can give read and write permissions, for example, based on this schema ID, and then you can read or write um, this specific part of the settings. But yeah, in any case, this is here the new feature coming with 2H2. Now let us showcase the event ingestion. So for that, I have here an example host. We can, of course, view the events of this example host. They are here. I'm filtering here for the last, have to move us again, for the last 2 hours. Um, yeah, these are the events. So if we ingest a new event now, I'm having here an example event, example JSON. I think we can also share it to the video description afterwards. So if you check this timestamp here, this is the end timestamp, and this here is the, actually let me copy this one, is the start timestamp. And if we convert it, you can see this is 2 days from now, so this is definitely in the future. And if we execute this command, it was successful. Then what now? We can't see it here since we don't want to wait 2 days in order to be able to query it. But what we can do is we can query directly here um, with the get uh, here get events endpoint. And so what I did is I selected here a time frame with the from and to, which is exactly here, so the 7th of February and 5 minutes before 12. And this is exactly a couple minutes before then what was defined as the start time for our event. So I selected here time frame approximately where we are shooting our event in the future. And if we execute this, then we can expect in the results 200 code it was successful, and we have here our custom event. with our start and end states in the future, and we can pair them with the API.
But this
So
is
this we
for
can do.
informational events, right, Miloš? It's
Correct.
for custom info event type specifically, and it's, I guess, up to 7 days, if I remember correctly from documentation.
Correct. It's for custom events, and the time window up into the future is limited as well.
Do we have any limits for the problem opening events like the other types? I guess it's 5 minutes. I don't know. And I also believe that it's mentioned in the specific API documentation, which is the start time section. But I don't know if it's correct or not. Do you remember if it's changed recently, or is it?
I wouldn't know, to be honest.
Okay.
But I can check.
So this is just one important point to think about that when you create this event. Please consider the event time here. This example is only specific for custom info events, which is informational Davis event types. And this is brief that can be important for you to know. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this event will be visible um, when once this time came, this event will be visible here. It will appear on this entity.
Do we need to
Because
record another session tomorrow to see if that event is there?
we can make I think
Just a couple
the
of
day after
seconds.
tomorrow.
Couple of seconds only for this, on this part.
Hey guys, let's check out the
Nice.
event. Goodbye.
We made it. We made it. Thank you.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. It's
definitely.
interesting. I don't know the exact. There are a couple of use cases that come to my mind, but not too much powerful. Therefore, I cannot share exact use cases. But I believe that there will be some cases that for our users to use this functionality. So it looks really cool update.
Yes.
I was
I don't know the whole value story either, but I'm sure this was requested at some point, and it was introduced as an additional feature.
This is an
And yeah,
interesting one. Yeah.
yeah.
I think for especially for third-party integrations, I would say. So,
Mhm. So nice,
oh, okay.
nice feature there. Mhm. I think the mentioned the bulk selection is pretty clear. We can check here all or check a couple of them, and once we do, we can close them. Yes, close or no cancel. So nice feature there. But I think very nice feature is the mentioned containers coming from the ActiveGate Kubernetes data. So this is what our Kubernetes app looks like in the new platform. And we can select here any of the Kubernetes entities, cluster node, namespace workloads, pod services, and finally containers. And if we click on such a container, yeah, here is the list of all the possible containers. Here is the overview of the container. And yeah, so this container entity here from the URL is now visible from the ActiveGate data. Yeah, what we can do from here, of course, we could, for example, check here the info, see, okay, this container is residing in that pod within this workload and that namespace. And we can then, for example, here, we could copy here the pod name, search for the pod, apply such a filter, and to get here filter results. Just an example. And of course, here we could filter by any other Kubernetes entity as well. So no problem at that point here. But yeah, what is new is here the container entity. All right.
Okay. That
So
sounds
far so good. And I think this should round up pretty much well what was released with 282. Yeah. Of course, please feel free to ask questions anytime and to provide feedback. We have different channels for that available, and you can use the Dynatrace community. And of course, especially for the questions, please don't hesitate. You can always reach out via live chat to us. Available for you 25/7, 24/5, or 24/7, depending on on the license. Thank
That's
you
how
very much.
powerful that to use chats at 24/7 it's available.
Oh
But in
yeah.
general, you can find resources easily in a couple of minutes in chats. and especially that when you need short answers or when you need urgent help from our team. And from chat, we can easily communicate. It's not like you only answer general question. It's for anything, you can use it as a resource. And for community, I think it's more useful to reach out to our product managers, maybe for more long-term discussions, I can say, or the feedbacks. And of course, always feel free to reach out to us via comment section in YouTube. And in the webinar section in university, you can find similar observability clinics for this series, what's in Dynatrace series, or any other that different technology integration and presented by several resources in Dynatrace. This the university is the place for you to check in detail. So I think we are all good. Thank you very much, Miloš. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the preparation.
Thank you so much for having me.
And speak to you again. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye.
You too. Bye bye.